Christine Weston Chandler is a trans internet personality best known for the creation of Sonichu, a character merging Sonic and Pikachu. Christine is someone so insane, someone whose story is so depraved and well documented that if they were wrote into any form of fiction, the audience would give the series backlash, saying the character was too unrealistic for them to perceive them as real. More recently though, Christine has become well known for various allegations levied against them, involving allegations that they had engaged with in explicit ways their elderly, dementia-riddled mother, which led to Christine being arrested and led to various different videos created about this situation. But that's only the tip of the iceberg, the surface information that almost everybody knows about ChrisChan. Across ChrisChan's life, there has been so much more information, so many more disgraceful and disgusting acts that have been documented and turned into content in videos like Gino Samuel's, which has allowed them to create a 60+ episode series, all 40 minutes in length, documenting ChrisChan's entire story, and yet they're not even up to date with information yet. This video is going to attempt to explain many of the various important notes in ChrisChan's history in as condensed a form as I can, and will also include some of my older footage on this channel when I documented the new allegations against ChrisChan towards the later end of this video, after I've caught you up to speed with everything before then. If this is the first video you've ever seen from me, or if you haven't subscribed already, I would appreciate if you could. I make videos almost every single day on internet personalities I find interesting, or stories I find important to report on. I'm aiming for 100,000 subscribers, and we're almost at that goal, so if you are new, or if you haven't already, please do consider supporting the channel and helping me reach that goal. That being said, let's get right into it. Christine Weston Chandler, born Christopher Weston Chandler, was born in Charlottesville, Virginia in February of 1982 to parents Bob Chandler Jr. and Barbara Ann Weston. In March of 2000, Chris created Sonichu after being told by their teacher that they weren't allowed to use Sonic the Hedgehog and Pikachu for a CD cover for legal reasons, with Chris combining these characters and later creating the first comic around Sonichu in 2005. ChrisChan would soon gain attention from several websites, including 4chan, Something Awful, and Encyclopedia Dramatica, which would create pages mocking ChrisChan, with Chris then making the one mistake you should never make as a content creator and engaging with the trolls, which would lead to them leaking personal information and ruining several relationships between themselves and other people they knew. Chris would also later propose the idea that a dimensional merge was going to occur that would destroy 41% of humanity in the process and bring cartoons to reality. Statements like these obviously got Chris mocked by the large majority of trolls that were engaging with Chris themselves after the creation of the CWC wiki. In the early 2000s, Chris would also attend a community college where they made several attempts to date women by hanging attraction signs around the school, which listed Chris's interest with females, with Chris recounting that the dean of the school tore the signs and belittled Chris. The school accused Chris of soliciting and emailing threats to the teacher, and so Chris was temporarily kicked from the school and had to attend anger management classes. This connects quite well to the creation of the Sonichu comics in the early 2000s. These comics would include various events that had occurred within ChrisChan's life, such as featuring the dean of her college, who was depicted quite disparagingly, and despite Chris mentioning on various occasions that these comics were targeted towards a younger audience, they would often include very graphic subject matter, including the likes of a comic where Sonichu's girlfriend Rosachu takes a nude photograph of herself which would unknowingly be leaked to the website 4cent Garbage. This would lead to Encyclopedia Dramatica creating a page about ChrisChan in early November of 2007. This page would satirize ChrisChan for their crude comics, personality, and various homophobic statements and actions that engaged in. Chris would, for some reason, engage with this community, creating drawings of themselves engaging in various sexual acts, posting private information about themselves, and more to try and prove that they were straight. In June of 2008, ChrisChan would be banned from a game store by an employee due to rude and inappropriate behavior. Chris would attempt to get unbanned from this store several times by trying to apologize to the employee, but obviously this wouldn't really work out in their favor, as was seen in an audio recording Chris created of them attempting to apologize. They would leave the game store while calling the employee a Jew. Probably not the best impression if you were trying to get unbanned from the store, but I mean, what would I know? But that's not the peak of this story. As on October the 28th, 2011, Chris and their mother would return to this store after hearing it was under new management due to allegations against the previous owner. Chris hoped that now there was new management, they could get unbanned from the store with a new appeal. However, they would soon realize that the new manager was the employee that had banned Chris in the first place. Chris would then be escorted off of the premises and obviously very calmly and collectly take turns with their mother her to run the game store employee over. Because why not, I suppose? Gino Samuel has a whole series documenting ChrisChan, and if you're interested in any more of the information about ChrisChan's past before the new situation, please do go check out those videos. They're really in-depth and really well researched. But with that being said, I think it's about time we touch on the new allegations against ChrisChan. Allegations that they had taken advantage of and involved themselves sexually with their dementia-riddled mother. Here are some excerpts from my previous videos on this situation. Yesterday, it was headlined that ChrisChan had put their metaphorical hot dog in their mother's metaphorical bun in what could only be described as an incredibly disgusting and unconsensual engagement, as their mother suffers with dementia, and as such their mother cannot by law agree to that interaction, and as such there is nothing but incredibly disgusting illegal involvement there, which has led to a whole heap of internet backlash, with many different ChrisChan hashtags trending worldwide. But let's catch you up to speed. So, these articles noted the fact that audio had recently been released from ChrisChan, a private phone call that was exposed to the public, where ChrisChan had admitted to all of this behavior and basically said that they had done this without a doubt. And obviously, I'm not going to play that audio because this video would be put into YouTube hell if I did so, and as such, I'm going to read some heavily censored remastered versions of quotes that I was provided from the call in a Reddit thread that listed all of the quotes from the call. And obviously, while I've listened to the whole call, it's incredibly hard to discern, which is why it's a lot easier just to read you these instead. ChrisChan was quoted saying they don't believe their father ever reached the peak spot in the interaction with their mother, and also they described their encounter with their mother as slow and steady, in that they encouraged their mother positively and let her make the first move. Apparently she wanted to, and yeah. ChrisChan also says, I don't remember exactly what she said, but I think she was partially confused at one point, but then she came around, obviously. Obviously, it's quite obvious to anyone that's paying any attention that there should be no confusion around this engagement. This should be fully agreeable and fully understood. Obviously, you shouldn't be involving yourself like this with your mother, let alone your mother that's suffering with dementia and as such couldn't comprehend this sort of thing and would be incredibly confused by default. And while I'm not trying to put stigma on people with dementia, I feel like it goes without saying that if they were confused in this engagement at any point, there is something wrong with this engagement. They also say that there was a lip lock, lip-to-lip kiss contact with their mother and that it felt good, and also that they remember mentioning a while ago that they had fantasies about doing this with their mother, which is incredibly gross. They also say that they wouldn't propose marriage with their mother because they're already daughter and mother, and all I feel is inner pain reading this sentence. The fact that they're admitting to appeal to their mother, but obviously I'm not here to gatekeep people's weird, disgusting fetishes, though I do believe this is illegal in their state, and I will discuss that later, but it just makes me sickened that they were saying these things, especially on a phone call to someone else. Who would ever admit this stuff publicly? I know ChrisChan is like in another state of being, where for some reason they put anything online, but it's really concerning that they would say this. They also said that they've been doing it every third night, and the first night was June the 27th, and also it took them a few nights to figure out what made what go right, and what feels right, and yeah, and apparently the mother is having a good time. They also say that they don't call their mum anymore, and that they call her love, and also it's an open relationship that they made clear to their mother, because they wanted someone closer to their age. I don't know anyone that's going to agree to a relationship with someone that's also got an open relationship with their mother. I don't know who's searching to get in between the hot dog and bun of the mother and child, but I'm just gonna quickly say the fact that ChrisChan has self-admittedly never had involvement with anyone other than their mother and someone they paid to have involvement with, and as such I feel it's a bit presumptuous to be like, yeah, it's an open relationship, mother, you have to understand. But obviously I'm not here to mock or harass, I just felt like that was an important, weird thing to state. Maybe they were trying to gloat to the other person on the call, I really don't know. But also, they say that they felt like they needed a release, which is why they did this, because they were feeling really stimulated, and they needed a true and honest relationship to come about. And apparently this was one of the best ways to do it. They described putting their hot dog in their mother's bun as one of the best ways to have a lewd engagement. Those are the main quotes from the call, and all of them are incredibly disgusting and concerning as is, with the partially confused thing making me very, very, very worried. But after this was released, there were also some texts from ChrisChan that were also exposed that made this situation so much worse on a whole, and as such I'm also going to read some of them to you now to cite more of the information and expose exactly what happened in this situation and why it is so goddamn gross. Their first text starts by saying, just going ahead and sharing this with you, fresh experience on the strictly confidential, just between you and I. So yes, Barb and I just had another engagement in the hay with an extensive cuddle, and tonight they started looking into a more consistent pattern of massaging their mother, and they took the input and tried to get blood flow in the groin area. And also, before that night, they didn't have a pattern in massages aside from feet and legs, followed by hand and arms, the face and torso, and a rollover for her back. They say they found a more consistent method, but they were inconsistent with the hands and feet. I find it really odd that they described in depth their massaging patterns for their mother, and how they had an extensive cuddle and a... but I'm gonna leave that as it is. Then the bird is shot straight from the sky as they say the following. Also, I made another attempt at, and then they describe themselves using their hands to stimulate their mother's senses, if you know what I mean. And they also cite their mother telling them to stop. They then continue by saying their mother is getting more used to being wrestled with below the belt with ChrisChan's hands, and they say that their mother has never even done anything like that to themselves in their entire life. That's really personal, really disgusting. I don't know why they described it in such depth, but it's incredibly concerning that they were doing this with their mother, but even more so that their mother actually told them to stop. The fact that their mother categorically said to stop, and in previous engagements they were cited as being partially confused, and their mother suffers with dementia. This is so concerning because all this spells to me is that this relationship was not under mutual agreement, and as such is an incredible concern. They then go in depth on how they used their hot dog inside their mother's bun to hit the peak spot, and also they found that spot but it hurt their mother, and also they admit to using the part of their mouth that has the taste buds to show their mother how it feels to chew 5 gum. They also describe this relationship as allowing them to feel their mother and their souls bonding together and coming together as one soul, which is a really weird way to describe an encounter with your mother, and I feel like obviously it's just them talking this spiritual nonsense, but it just makes me go, what are you talking about? This is just really bizarre. I've got to give them credit, I've never seen anyone describe an encounter with their mother in such excruciating but bizarre and odd wording before, so congrats on that, I guess. And I think that's where I'm going to end the reading of the texts, and let's focus on some of the posts that have been made about this situation, bringing more information to the table. A Kiwi Farms thread started up describing this whole situation, providing the evidence, and saying that all of this evidence is considered genuine, and that nobody knew about this other than one troll who ChrisChan confided with this information. They then continue by saying the police actually visited Chandler's residence for a wellness check, and just now Chris was served with an emergency protective order until August 5th, and they're no longer allowed near their house until then. Also, they're not allowed to contact their mother, and their mother is in hospital for senior care inspection. The Kiwi Farms user says all the GoFundMe funds that were raised for ChrisChan will apparently go towards them, and the Kiwi Farms thread notes by explaining the fact that the illegal involvement between the mother and child would be a class 5 felony, which would mean that this crime could be a felony or a misdemeanor depending on how the crime is charged, and sometimes how the judge or jury decides to treat a conviction, and apparently in the state that they live in, this is punishable by 1 to 10 years in prison and up to 12 years in jail and a fine of $2,500 if it was a misdemeanor, which is an incredibly large charge. However, the Kiwi Farms account also says that they'd like to clarify 2 things about ChrisChan's situation. 1, they're not under arrest, and 2, they haven't been charged with a crime. However, this may change depending on what Bob says or does. And all of this situation spells an absolute nightmare for anyone that's paying any attention, with everybody on Twitter waking up to this information and rightfully being repulsed and logging right back off immediately, just like me. And I genuinely hope that this situation ends with it all being fake. I hope that none of this is true, but given the fact that there's text, audio recording and more, I feel like it's very hard to argue that this situation isn't true at this moment. So let's start from the bottom. This whole situation starts with ChrisChan posting a tweet to a rightful 500 likes and 1.6 thousand quote retweets. I'm shocked that it's not more than that considering the situation and what's occurred, but they disabled replies, so it's very clear that they expected the response. But they said, "Hey y'all, today's collective card appropriately is turning in. There is drama in the air today. Each and every one of you all are encouraged to withdraw from any and all dramas, gossip, rumors, and whatever else will and already has approached your way today," which is an incredibly stupid thing for them to say, and it's very clear that they're trying to disregard this whole situation through tarot cards as just a little drama and gossip and rumors, when in reality this is a very serious criminal accusation that involves a lot of incredibly important information and a lot of very serious, bold claims. It seems very ignorant of them to pretend this is just drama, and it seems like they're trying to play it down for the sake of either trying to make it so that their followers don't know what's going on, or so that they can try and pretend that this isn't happening, or make it seem like they're above it almost. But obviously, what they did, if it's all true, is unbelievably unforgivable. There's no excuse for it, and as such, them trying to pretend this is just gossip and rumors is a really snarky way of disregarding how incredibly, crucially serious this situation is. There is no passing regard you can make on this situation that could be more ignorant than this is just drama, when the accusation involves you involving yourself illegally with your mother, putting your hot dog in their bun in a way they aren't agreeing with. That is not drama. Kiwi Farms also posted this thread here that reads the following. "Christine lied to me, so I've cut contact. I believe she's violated her EPO by sending money to herself from Bob's bank account. I won't have anything new to say on this issue that's privileged to me." And they follow up with this whole thread that I'll read now. "Christine gave me access to her email years ago to help her during the Joshua Wise situation. I've had access ever since. Christine is aware I have access to her emails, and after changing her passwords recently, they gave me access again. I've helped them deal with trolls, signing them up for spam and newsletters and other things like that. I was going to send Christine their GoFundMe money, but after talking it over and sleeping on it, I've cancelled the payment and I've asked GoFundMe to do a complete and total refund. I told Christine last night to spend one night sleeping in her vehicle, and that this morning I would help them figure out a way to have a roof over their head until August 5th. I suggested that she take some time under the stars to reflect on the situation. Every so often Christine gets an email alert that Barb has sent her money. I've always been under the impression that Barb tightly manages her finances and sends her a pittance. However, to my surprise, at 12:38 AM this morning, so less than 8 hours ago, Barb sent Christine $750, so I asked Christine about this. From what we can gather from their explanation here, they've had access to Christine's emails for a long while, and as such they've been aware of what's been going on. And if you don't know, there was a GoFundMe raised to help support Christine, and as such there's a whole bunch of money sat in a GoFundMe account to support Christine and be given to Christine in a time where they need it, which was supposed to be now. However, this isn't going to seemingly be the case, as some texts were released from the Kiwi Farms poster where they asked Christine the following. "Did you ask your mum to send you money? That's probably a violation of the EPO." To which Christine says, "I did not ask her to send me money. I have refrained from contacting her at all and continue to do so." And the Kiwi Farms poster says, "So she sent you money on her own?" And Christine says, "She did not send me any money. I managed to find blessings in the minimum abundance I needed. Meanwhile, I have presently over 5 hours to kill, and both the favorite malls around here don't open until 11. The Kiwi Farms poster said this is a lie, Christine lied to their face, and they follow up by sending a screenshot of the fact that Christine had received money, $750, from their mother, and they say, "Do you have control over your mother's bank accounts?" To which Christine says, "Yeah, I have control, and this was an emergency. I plan on sending the $750 back to her account after, when the 1,000 gets to my account." And from there, you can see that they blocked Christine, because clearly they don't want to be involved with Christine anymore. They also highlight the fact that they believe this is a violation of the EPO, as she is prohibited from stealing money from her mother. They also claim to have notified the police, and they say they're done, and that they'll refund the GoFundMe money. And from what we can really gather there, from what they've shown, Christine did lie to them about this situation, and they actually had stolen money from their mother. Even after exploiting their mother in so many terrible ways, they decided to take their mother's money. which is firstly an incredibly terrible thing to do in general. You shouldn't steal money from anyone, let alone a big sum like $750. Secondly, they also lied to the person that's controlling the GoFundMe funds for Christine, which seems like a very manipulatory way to try and get money to go spend in a mall, as they self-admit, while they simultaneously are lying to get the GoFundMe money. It seems like a very manipulatory way to lie to the person that is trying to help you, and also shows that you really don't care to be honest with them, or be transparent with them, or actually deserve the money they're giving you. But this is also a violation of the EPO put in place, and as such this behaviour is incredibly disgusting in general. There should have been no involvement with them, their mother, or involving themselves in their mother's financial situation or anything else. However, Christine decided to steal money from them so that they could go shopping. That seems like a really, really scummy thing to do, and as such it makes sense that the Kiwi Farms poster that's been trying to help them would block them, cut them out, and as such it appears that they've refunded the money to the GoFundMe investors for the people that are owed the money, so that everyone gets their money back, and Christine does not get the money, as they clearly don't deserve it, as they are very clearly lying to other people and stealing money from their mother for their own self-benefit, like shopping at malls. They also claim that they've notified the police, and from there it seems like it's going to become a police investigation that obviously is basically left up to what the police decides to do with this information, and as such it's really hard to guess or guesstimate what's going to be happening from this point. But if I was to presume, I'd presume that Christine has probably violated the EPO, and as such I believe they're going to be in a heap of trouble. If I was to make a guesstimation based on all the information presented here, I'd presume that this is going to be probably a legal investigation that leads to Christine not being able to post on social media, or Christine being involved in legal investigation that leads in them being plead insanity and ending up in a mental asylum, or I'd presume that they may go to prison for some of this behavior. And as such I believe that this situation may possibly be the end of the ChrisChan saga as we know it, and as such I genuinely hope that ChrisChan gets themselves the help they need, because it's very clear that throughout their whole life they very clearly haven't got the help they need, otherwise they wouldn't be going through these situations. And while that obviously isn't an excuse for many of the things they've been involved in, I do believe that if they get themselves the help they need, we won't end up in situations like this in the future, or at least Christine will understand or comprehend how wrong their behaviours are. All I hope for in this situation is accountability for Barb and everyone else that's been harmed in this situation. With that being said, let's delve into the Kiwi Farms thread that was released from the Kiwi Farms admin involved in the ChrisChan allegations, with all of the new information they've presented about the situation. The Kiwi Farms poster shows the fact that ChrisChan has allegedly been placed under arrest, showing this documentation that apparently proves so, and when people looked further into that documentation, they found a full version of that screenshot, which showed a few questionable things that made people question if ChrisChan had actually been arrested for these accusations. The main thing being that this documentation actually stated at the bottom in their description that ChrisChan had apparently been involved in illegal activity with their own child or grandchild, which made a lot of people turn their heads, as that wasn't exactly what happened in the situation. However, I saw a Twitter comment that seemingly explained it away, as it would appear that because ChrisChan's mum has dementia, ChrisChan seems to be considered the legal guardian of their mother, and as such that's why it was noted down that way in the police report. The Kiwi Farms post then continues by showing what could only be considered footage of ChrisChan being arrested, with the apparent first perspective being from Ethan Ralph and the kill stream. They also highlight their own personal opinion about Ethan in their description of this stream, but I don't genuinely care about that. I care more about the actual apparent criminal, and as such I'll roll some of the highlights of that footage for you now.
Yeah, they're arresting ChrisChan here at the hotel. ChrisChan, what's up? When you get out, let's do the kill stream. Tell them all about Josh. That's who they want.
Give it up, ChrisChan.
Give them up. Save yourself, girl. Magic will help you. You're beautiful.
Go to church.
No, come to the kill stream first. Oh, you better hurry, Jesse. You're missing out. Hey, officers.
Cheers.
How's it going?
Good, I just saw you.
Yeah, that's right. That's you. Oh my God.
Sorry about that, guys.
I told you.
I'm going like a flying.
Is the car alive?
Flying. I am good.
Is
like
the car
this.
alive?
You are.
I
You
think so.
absolutely are.
Yeah, you appear to be
I am
compliant.
ChrisChan Sonichu, your goddess blue heart, and I continue to stand strong, and I maintain everything with quick fill in my Sonichus and rose shoes and everybody.
Yeah, you're live to about 3,000 people right now, ChrisChan.
How do you believe?
Well, don't. You're taking everything in stride. You said you're doing good?
Yeah, I keep in good faith. Everything is going to work out.
Doing good, feeling good?
Well,
How's the last few days been? I know it's been pretty stressful.
it's been stressful, but I've taken it one moment at a time, and I got my loves.
Well, that's good.
Josh, did you dirty?
Oh, well, that's just the one thing. That's again. Feel free Just go ahead and take it. It's a picture of muffins from My Little Pony. I promise I was not going to use that as weapon. It fell off my bag. I did not want to lose it. And please, I would like that for my collection.
What's up, Jesse? Boy, we almost missed it, huh?
Christine, this man does want to help you.
Yeah, we were trying to get you on the show, but look, when you get out, look me up.
This footage very clearly shows ChrisChan being arrested in what could only be described as one of the biggest things to ever happen to ChrisChan, and likely the last we'll hear about ChrisChan for a long while if the police investigation does take place, and if they end up going to court or jail. And as such, I do genuinely believe that this will be the last time that a lot of people cover ChrisChan. I know many people are so disgusted by their recent actions that they don't ever want to cover them anyway, and that's why I decided to pick up the slack there to make sure that everyone that's looking for that information has it, but in a more condensed, concise, more clear way so that anyone understands what's actually being claimed at the time it's being claimed. And the fact that the police have looked into this and decided to arrest ChrisChan tells me either one of two things. One, they did an investigation on the mother and found out that something had taken place, and as such they decided to arrest ChrisChan, or two, they got ChrisChan's own admission and took that as enough evidence to arrest them, or three, they arrested ChrisChan because they believe that ChrisChan is a suspect of this allegation, and as such that's why it's going to court. It's really hard to know, but the fact that ChrisChan hasn't got bail according to the documentation that was leaked, it suggests to me that there's likely going to be a clear legal investigation, and it's likely that ChrisChan may go to jail over this situation because it's believed that ChrisChan did involve themselves illegally with their mother. And while I don't know the ins and outs of the police situation, while I don't know the ins and outs of law, and while I obviously can't give you a very clear representation of what's going to happen on the legal side, whether ChrisChan's guilty, innocent or not, and as of right now it's all alleged, I do believe that there is a lot to question here, and I do believe this is a very serious situation that needs to be handled as such, and the fact that people are taking this situation to argue the most petty and stupid things, I feel really takes away from the fact that we're talking about a literal predator allegation here. However, right as I'm recording this video, another piece of evidence just came out from the police in a press release where they explain why they arrested Christine, and they give more information on the whole situation as a whole, which reads the following. This is a press release to local media outlets. On July the 31st, 2021, the county sheriff's office received information involving Birds and Bees crimes against a family member who resides in the area. Both of the victims and the suspect reside in this county based on investigation, and arrest warrant has been issued. On the 8th of the 1st, 2021, the police department was able to locate and arrest the following individual, Christine Weston Chandler. They are currently charged with the following, and then they list the VA code of a crime involving illegal activity between family members, and they continue by saying Christine is currently being held without bond at the Central Regional Jail. This is an ongoing investigation with additional charges pending. Anyone with information is urged to contact Investor Jason with the county sheriff's office at, and then they list a phone number. I believe this press release says a lot, as they say they were responding to information involving this crime, and after they looked into it and investigated it, an arrest warrant was issued. I believe that means that right now they do not have evidence that 100% proves that Christine is guilty. However, they have information that would claim so, and their investigation turned up enough evidence that they believe it was worth looking into as a legal investigation. But also the fact that they haven't charged Christine for the hot dog and bun situation, but instead just family member on family member illegal activity, it appears to me that the investigators do not currently have enough evidence to constitute the claim that Christine and their mother were not in a mutual agreement involving the activity they did. And as such, I believe the police are currently looking into the mental state of Barb to gather whether Barb is actually able to agree to this relationship or not before they investigate that as a crime and charge Christine further. And as such, this investigation will continue, and they're seemingly asking for more information at the bottom of this post from anyone that may have it, and I hope more people can bring up enough evidence to prove Christine guilty of what they did to their mother, who has dementia and is very clearly not able to agree to this relationship, in my opinion. Today we're going to be talking once again about the ChrisChan allegations, but today we're going to be focusing on how ChrisChan may have been manipulated by someone else into partaking in the actions they did. And before I do begin this video, I'd like to make one thing extremely, excruciatingly clear. No matter whether someone may have egged on ChrisChan to doing the actions they did, that does not mean that ChrisChan is by any means off the hook. ChrisChan is just as guilty as they always were. ChrisChan is 100% responsible for their actions, and there is absolutely no defense for what they did. I don't want to see anyone in the comments trying to say that it's not ChrisChan's fault anymore, or that ChrisChan's innocent, as at the end of the day, what ChrisChan did was their own decision and their own actions, and I believe that it is implausibly ridiculous to try and say it's someone else's fault that ChrisChan did what they did. While someone else may have spurred them to do it, that does not mean that that is the other person's fault. We do not blame anybody else for ChrisChan's actions, okay? That does not mean though that we can't call out someone else for being involved in those actions and trying to get ChrisChan to partake in them and all of their own disgusting behaviors. And as such, today we're going to be discussing Isabella, who I'll do my best to censor the information of because there's a lot of doxed information about them and I don't want to publicize that on my platform, as not only is that a crime but something I don't want to be involved in, as I believe being a shitty person to someone shitty makes everybody shitty. Getting your hands dirty means falling to the other person's level, and I don't condone that behavior. One of the initial allegations against Isabella was released on Kiwi Farms in a post that reads, Isabella was involved in attempting to cause ChrisChan, an autistic trans woman and webcomic artist who has been a victim of online harassment for over a decade, to end their own life, to extort money from them, and much more. She made recordings of ChrisChan discussing the hot dog in their mother's bun. While there is no evidence she planted the seed of committing this act in Chris's mind, she seems to have watered it. Her words and voice in the audio recordings have an altogether inappropriate quality and seem to almost encourage Chris's behavior, which if you listen to the full 21 minutes of audio I believe it is, there's a whole bunch more that seemingly does imply that Isabella was condoning this behavior or at least trying to spur it on. I'm not going to play you that audio because it's long, so if you'd like to listen to it for yourself, it will be on the Kiwi Farms post, which I'm not going to link as there is doxing of personal information there, and I do not condone that behavior by any means. This allegation seems to present the claim that Isabella was trying to manipulate Christine into forcing themselves upon their mother and trying to manipulate them into stealing money from their mother, while their end goal was also apparently to try and get Christine to take their life. And this Kiwi Farms post continues by saying that Isabella has also been involved in another case where they allegedly caused another trans person to take their life, and they seem to have a wide track record of sociopathic behavior and involvement in a variety of illegal and disturbing acts, including abusing animals and selling prescription medication, and also that she has a fake ID because apparently she's trying to evade government regulations or something of the sort. They explain that it seems that the call may have been recorded and retained for blackmail purposes, and then when it was shared by another Chris Orbiter who leaked it out of panic, Bella then panicked herself and went into damage control mode, spinning off the saga we have today. If this claim is true, it appeared that Isabella seemingly targets trans people and may have been way more involved in the Christine allegations than we believe, and they may have even almost caused Christine to lose their life if they proceeded with what they were attempting to do. This behavior is unforgivable. No matter how much you may hate someone or want to troll them, this is way too far. Them losing their life would be absolutely unforgivable. This Kiwi Farms post also has an impromptu memorial, I guess, of Max the Dachshund, who was Isabella's dog, who was allegedly murdered through neglect by Isabella. There's a claim on another post that the Dachshund was killed because they were left in complete filth until their paws had to be amputated and they were put down. If this is true, Isabella is very clearly uncaring of their animals and absolutely unforgivably disgusting in their mistreatment of them, and alongside what they've done to Christine, this would also imply that they were a sociopath and don't care about anyone else but their disgusting self. But if you think this is the worst of their behavior, you've got a whole culture shock coming, as there's a whole bunch more. Now, before I get into that, there's a few things I'd like to confirm. Firstly, MP2348 is a Discord account before the thread came out that says they're going to be famous and be an internet god because of what they got about Christine. If this is true, it's very clear that their intention was to try and get clout and to be publicized as this person that exposed Christine or something along the like if their behavior played out in the way they intended it to. This is absolutely unforgivable. Trying to use someone losing their life or forcing themselves upon their mother as a way to get famous is shocking. But in a semi-comic justice of this behavior, Christine actually semi-confirmed that Isabella is actually the person behind all of this behavior, as Christine has chat messages where they show photos that are seemingly of Isabella under the name Bella, who was seemingly talking to Christine a lot. Remember I mentioned it getting worse? Yeah, we're at that point now. A slideshow-like document was released showing a lot of what Isabella has apparently been involved in and some of their disgusting behaviors. Firstly, they show some of their disgusting behavior, some of their absolutely disgusting statements that they've made revolving around minorities and minority groups, threatening to kill trans people and more, all of which is absolutely unforgivable, and all of which would get you cancelled if you had an internet following or presence. But at this point, this behavior gets so much worse that this isn't even worth a mention, and I was almost considering leaving this out entirely, as the next thing I'm about to mention is way more serious to the point where this stuff doesn't really matter. A post was released showing that Bella had allegedly boiled a hamster alive, attaching an image that Bella had posted into Discord with the caption, "Swim f***er swim with a hamster in boiling water." This is absolutely putrid. I'm looking at the image right now and I actually unironically want to throw up. I'm speaking in deadpan because I'm reading from a script, but this image is absolutely unforgivably disgusting, and it makes me want to throw up. And their messages alongside it saying that they wanted to force themselves upon the hamster, they boiled it alive, and they blew up their old hamster, and apparently this will be the 8th hamster they've killed. All of this behavior spells the same type of shit you see in serial killer documentaries. Though this is coming from the same person that allegedly tried to get Christine to take their life, so it makes more sense that they're probably the type of person to do this. I don't get why they'd target animals like this, but the fact they'd stoop to this low means they'd probably stoop to the same low that people are alleging they did with the Christine allegation. This document also expands upon the fact that they'd also targeted students at their school, and they'd also tried to send those students what could be constituted harassment in the Texas labor code law. And I really hope this person gets what's coming to them if all of these allegations are true, as everything discussed here is unforgivable. If they've done what they've been alleged of, whether ChrisChan is still guilty or not, their behavior is ridiculously unforgivable, and my heart goes out to every single one of the animals that were harmed in this situation. But on a less horrifying note, I guess, there was an article written by Stephen A. Sarch from Insider. They released an article explaining that Christine will be charged as a man by legal prosecution in their case against their forcing themselves upon their mother in what could be considered an illegal act in many ways. As Christine has male genitalia, and as such there is harm for childbirth and possible defects, male upon female interactions in that way are illegal. However, it would appear that female upon female actions in the state that Christine lives in may not be illegal, and as such that's why everyone was questioning whether Christine would actually get charged for this behavior. However, it appears that the court has ruled that Christine will be tried as a man, as they have male genitalia, and as such, childbirth could still take place. Obviously, there's a whole bunch more in that case, and while obviously Insider doesn't have all the information for the legal investigation, that is the best estimation we can make of how this situation is being handled, and as such, that's why Christine has been tried as a man. Please don't turn this into a debate about that in my comments. I'm just reading you the facts. Either way, I believe Christine should go to jail for their actions, and as such, I'm very happy that they are being tried. Today's video will focus on the letter ChrisChan sent to Noel, one of their friends, a Kiwi Farms moderator. And full warning, this letter is insane.
I have finally received fresh paper and envelopes, and I feel it advised to inform you of the following, all of which, as you may or will, you have my consent to relay all of the contents of this letter to Joshua Null Moon, as well as forward the physical document to David Heelberg, my attorney. The following everyone should hear and appreciate sincerely, authentic, and spiritually and aura deep. I also swear direct truth with my left hand over my heart as I write this sentence.
With how this starts, you'd think they're about to tell me they're a god.
Firstly, and vitally, it should be made obvious and clear that aside from Andy Warhol, my life events at the present and so far can be directly compared and matched with that which has been chronicled of none other than Jesus Christ of Nazareth himself.
Yep. They fucking lost it. I don't really remember Jesus Christ preaching about Sonic and how everyone's original characters were gonna enter the real world, but whatever. I also don't remember Jesus doing the nasty with their mother. I must have missed that part of the Bible. It must have been in the Old Testament, not the New Testament. ChrisChan must be right.
Also, feel free to take any unaltered original photograph of my body's face, neck and shoulder/chest area, where I was not wearing the glasses. Then alter the photo to show a naturally growing brown beard, mustache, and sideburns. Now, place that photo next to any image of Jesus off the cross. Compare. Look deep into my eyes in the photograph. See for yourself.
Oh my god, I'm seeing it. I'm actually seeing it.
I meditate and connect directly and genuinely with the cosmos, both of our universe halves, and throughout the timelines, the entire multiverse. So despite some lack of physical evidence, I know the ultimate truths, facts, and details not commonly known or written, drawn, or chronicled. That being stated, all of my life my mind, eyes, and literally held the constant perception of being the central camera, number 000, out of all of the other cameras, infinite, from the first-person perspective of all others. And this goes even deeper. I encourage you to deeply meditate and see for yourself.
This is some Matrix level shit. Like, they are describing their life the same as like a GTA 5 lobby, a first-person shooter, talking about the camera angle of themselves. Dude, I feel so sorry for the attorney that has to document this. I'm sure the judge is gonna agree with ChrisChan's conclusion that they aren't guilty because they are Jesus. Seems like a valid excuse. Excuse and what, young sir? Did you murder that school of orphan children? Oh, you see, officer, I'm actually God, so that, like, it doesn't really matter. I'm innocent. I'm fine. Don't worry about it. Oh, well, go on with your day then. I'm sure that's how it'll play out.
I am literally the real player one, the one avatar.
I'll be honest, ChrisChan, you kind of give me the vibes of that kid who got given the controller that wasn't plugged in so that they could feel like they were playing the game, but didn't realize that they were just being taken the piss out of.
life. And this body, eyes, mind, and all the one God body, and I am literally also Jesus Christ himself, fully reincarnated and fully reawakened. Even the dimension merge, literally completed and concluding. The same for the collective shift. All of this is literally huge chunks of the past, present, and in progress events of my second coming. Period. Not all details of the past chronicled scriptured writings are accurate.
Oh, I see, the Bible just forgot the part about the incestuous relationship with the mother, the Sonichu cosplay, all of this. It just seems they conveniently left out the really important, crucial parts of ChrisChan's life.
And as a member of the Chronicle of Gods and Goddesses, with the strongest and direct of connections, I know details have changed some to a lot. In regards to the scriptures of the past, 3 days on Earth equal 4 months, with 24-hour days/nights. In the heaven realm. So, yes, this is the one immortal body, and that was none other than I, off and on that cross over 2,000 years ago in my past life, personally. Each and every prayer and praise to Jesus, as of February 1982, at least, have all been directed to this body and soul. Malachi 3, Judgment Day is nearing. Know this well. Praise.
ChrisChan my Lord, ChrisChan my Savior, ChrisChan my mummy. I didn't mean that last one. ChrisChan my Lord, please forgive me for my sins. Thou have sinned. I spoke negatively of your name. I slandered you, ChrisChan. I did not mean what I said when I was harassing you, when I was antagonizing you in my hateful YouTube videos. You were right. You were the true God. Please forgive me and let me into heaven. Let me into incest heaven with you, ChrisChan. Please. I want to be a god like Kanye West.
I'm a genius!
There is more to that whole letter if you care what incest Jesus has to say aside from that they're God. And since then, we've heard practically nothing from ChrisChan. It seems as if they've gone completely radio silent on all fronts ever since being arrested and sending that first letter. With that being said though, I'm gonna end this video here. If this video has enlightened you on the situation or provided a more in-depth analysis on this situation, I would appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel and support me on other platforms by checking out my Twitter. With that being said, I will see you in the next video. I appreciate all of the recent support, and peace.
Said she wanna rock with a nigga like me. I'm a stylish guy. Spend a little guap with a nigga like me. We can catch a fly. Said she wanna rock with a nigga like me.